Hello, everybody. I am a minute late. Oh, I'm 3 minutes late. I'm so sorry. I was trying to type and get the little description in there for the video. So as I turn on to make sure that we are good, turn the volume off so we don't echo. Let me know you're watching. Tell me if you're here, if you're first time. Last time we had a few new stampers watching, so that was fun. So let me know if you're first time or if you're an old pro, or I don't know, tell me something about yourself. I see that Nancy's watching. Hi, Nancy. Let's get some more people on here, and I'm going to show you. Uh-oh, why did that freeze? There we go. Okay. Apparently you can freeze alive. I didn't know that. Okay, great. Alrighty, so Nancy's here. Who else? We get someone else logging in. Going along with my email yesterday, I talked about beginner stamping. And so I thought I would do a beginner stamper card to kind of put them together. And I say simple sometimes, but you have to keep in mind simple is not boring. You can do some really nice simple cards, and sometimes you need them simple for different reasons. One, you might be a beginner and you don't know any other way. When you need a quick card, or if you're making multiple cards. And sometimes simple is just nice. I particularly like the clean and simple style. And so everyone's different, but sometimes we need that. So I'm going to show you one card, but I was saying 3.5 different ways to color, and you'll see what that half is. And so hopefully you like it. All right, so let's see. I have all my stuff set up. I'm just going to remind you, today is the last day of August, which means a lot of back to school people, or kids are going back to school today, I saw on Facebook. But what it really means for in the stamping world is it's the last day of celebration. So it's the last day of free products with $50 and $100 orders. And it's also the last day of my August special. So actually, I'll just show you while it's kind of on this way, because I think you can see it better. And I did a little video yesterday and posted it, but this will be the last time I show it. But if you order $100 in August with me, I will send you a pack of, I've been calling them festive gems, but apparently they're festive pearls. But they're cherry cobbler, soft succulent gold, and silver, so they're perfect for Christmas time. I'll send you a Wink of Stella pen, which I'm going to use today, and a tutorial on to make this card in envelope. So I have the card in the envelope. I was kind of calling it a 4-panel card, and because it opens up to 4 panels, so it's on this diagonal, so it opens up this way, and then it's decorated on the back too. So I'll show you how to, it's actually 2 pieces of cardstock, and I'll show you how to cut it, to put it together, and to cut the angle, and how to cut the angles on the paper. And I'm hoping to film that next week, but I will email it to everyone who qualifies for the August special once it's done. Okay, let's get to business here. Let's see, do we have anyone else? Yes. Oh, hi, Debbie. Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, so I'm going to flip this down. Someone said last week that it cut out with the volume, and I was going to put in, oh, actually I can. Now I can do it. I was trying to figure out how to put my microphone on the spinning thing, so let's see. I'm going to just clip on my microphone, and let me know if the volume is good or not good. I'm just going to click this in. Let me know if that is a good thing or not a good thing. All right, so I have, let's see. Yep, you can see my space. I'm actually going to move this down just a slight bit so you can see it a little bit better. All right, hopefully that's, I always seem to do it crooked. All right, so we are going to use, I talked about my email yesterday of a beginner stamper. You know, it's very overwhelming, right? When you see this like huge catalog and you're like, oh my goodness, I love it all. What can I get? What do I do? How do I make it, right? It's a little overwhelming. So I pointed out a few things that are, I think, necessary, and then some stuff you can wait about. But one of the things I think is helpful for not only new beginners or beginners, but anybody, are these note cards and envelopes. So they come in, you can have very vanilla or white. That's how they come. And then you get 20 note cards. and 20 envelopes. So they're already pre-scored, which is nice, and they are thick white or thick vanilla. And again, you get the envelope. And the size wise, like here's my hand, I think it's 3.5 by 5, but it's fine for a regular postage stamp, which is nice. You don't have to worry about extra postage or smaller postage or anything. So I'm going to use these for all the cards because they're easy. Yeah, for, you get 20 cards, 20 note cards. Oh, excuse me, 20 cards, 20 envelope for $7.50. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. All right. Oh, we have a new person, Cheryl. Welcome. I'm Christine, and my face was on there earlier, but now you see my hands, which constantly move. I realize I talk with my hands all the time. So welcome, and thank you for joining us. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to start with this first one. So I labeled them because I forget how they're all going to be colored. All right, so this one, this card, and they're all going to look similar, but I'm going to color them differently, was with the blends markers. And then I'll put them all together so you can kind of see the difference. So you really couldn't get, well, I suppose you could get simpler, but it's pretty simple. All right, so for the blends markers I talked about, there were 2 blacks. Remember, 2 black inks? So for the blends markers, we're going to use the Memento Black. And it's good for multi-purpose stamping, but this one you really need to go with these blends markers. And I tried to keep my color palette little. So I have, what, 4 sets of colors? Uh-oh. Yeah. This one goes with one of them. I don't know, I have 4 sets of colors. I may have grabbed one color off, but that's all right. And I'm going to keep them all the cards on the same kind of color base. And I'm going to use, oh, all right, Cheryl's also new. Oh, so this is perfect. Great. All right, so I'm going to use this stamp set, and I purposely picked this one because there's no punches, there's no dies. It really works on its own, and it has 2 images, it has words, so you really can kind of use it for a lot of things, and it's a good, I don't even want to say a beginner stamp set, but it's a good one to have because it's pretty versatile. So for this card, I'm just stamping and coloring, but you could, and I've done it with other ones, you could stamp it and cut it out with scissors and then popped it up. You could cut out the envelope and pop that up, so you have some versatility. It's not just a straight stamp. And I'm just realizing I forgot to do something. When you use blends markers, they do bleed, and I did not bring up any white paper. So what I'll do later is I'm just going to put a piece of paper on the inside, and you could even put white, but you could use a designer series paper and put that in there, and because that would look kind of nice. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll have to post a picture. So anyways, I'm going to use this stamp set, which has no dies, no punches. It just kind of works on its own. And I talked a little bit about blocks. So this was one of the ones I recommended. So you can kind of see it just fits. But that's fine, it works, it fits, it works. So this is a D block, the letter D, and on the sides, it's upside down, but on the sides they have the letters on them. I probably use this size the most. All right, so it is a bigger stamp. So what I'm going to do is sometimes I ink this one upside down. And I'm going to, as best I can, center that and press it. There we go. And then I'm going to stamp a little greeting. I put the hello. I lost my hello there. I can't find it, so I just grabbed a hello, which is similar enough from another stamp set. Hopefully I'll find it. And this is actually the letter B. I think I told you to do a B, a C, a D, because the C is a little bit bigger, and a H, which I didn't bring up. That's a little bit longer. All right, so there we go. So there's our stamping. So again, that's with Memento Black because we're going to use the blends markers. And then it's a simple matter of coloring. So each blends marker comes in a pack. You get a dark and a light of the same color. I'm going to start with the, I may just keep with the light. And you get 2 tips. You kind of see like a brush tip and more of a fine point tip. You can use either one. I'm partial to the brush tip. I like that it's like a paintbrush. Oh, I just smudged there. And I'm just going to rotate my paper. I think that's easier with coloring, so that I'm always kind of seeing it in the same direction. And I'm just going to color this one kind of fast because I have some of the other ones I want to do too. So the beauty of the blends markers is, actually I'm going to use the dark on the other part. You can blend colors together, which I'm not going to do on this card. I'm just going to use them just kind of as regular markers. But they're nice because you don't get the lines at all. You know, sometimes you color and you get lines. They don't have that. Make sure I did all the leaves. All right. Oh, Nancy, you're so sweet. Welcome to all our new stampers. We are a friendly bunch. All right, so that was green. No, what was that color? I think that was the new one. Parakeet Party. Sometimes I use Granny Apple Green for the leaves because I like that green, but I try to grab just new of some of the in colors to kind of keep the palette the same. You grab whatever colors you want. Yeah, I'm just kind of coloring this fast. And this is the light, and each one, it will say light or dark on there. So this is the fresh freesia. Even though I think these are supposed to be tulips. I like how there's like little heart in there, so you could even color different colors, but for now I'm just keeping it simple. I'm not really thinking about it too much. I'm also just following the pattern, or I should say the same colors. You get me on changing colors, then it takes me a long time because I really like playing with the colors. But try that trick. I really do like the turning of the paper. I think it kind of works better with your coloring. Oh, little circles, little heart in the stamp. So it comes together pretty quick. This is a little darker purple. Oh, you know what? I think I grabbed the wrong purple before. So this isn't all that much darker, but that's fine. All right, almost done. Okay, so that was a pretty quick card. I think I might just put a little bit around that stamp, right? That is pretty fast. So that is the blends markers. And again, I will put something on the inside of that to cover that up. All right, so remember, blends markers goes with Memento Black. All right, so put that aside. So the next way is with watercolored pencils. So Stampin' Up! Sells watercolored pencils in 2 different packs. So it's pretty original in their names, Assortment 1 and Assortment 2. So I don't remember which colors these are part of, but they are here, page 126. Assortment 1 you get 13 colors, and Assortment 2 you get 10 colors, and they're different colors, but they work together. So I just grabbed similar colors to the color palette I was using. All right, so I'm going to stamp another one. Grab my card. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I'll just show you that I did it. I stamped on the envelope to go with this card. There's an extra stamp. There's a little flower here. So I just stamped it and colored it with another marker to kind of match. All right, so here's my other number 2. Sometimes they're scored, but they don't always line up perfectly, so just kind of watch the edges. All right, so now I'm going to use a different black ink because I'm going to color differently. So anytime you want to introduce water, such as with the watercolor pencils, or another technique I'm going to show you, you want to use the StazOn black. On my other part, I have 2 ones. I actually wrote blends on my Memento, so I remember. But it took up the wrong pad. And this ink, it has a little cover, so just careful because sometimes I drop it. And it is a permanent ink, so you can mark things up. Okay, so I use that same stamp. I'm gonna, again, I like to do these ones upside down. Stamp middle as best I can see. So I also said in the email that I think this black, the StazOn black, is slightly darker than the Memento. It might be kind of hard to see. And I really noticed that when I was making those Scotty Dog cards. I thought the Scotty Dog worked better with the StazOn because you got a better black, more solid. You can kind of see. That one's kind of thick, so it doesn't always come out as thick. All right, so now I'm just going to color with my watercolor pencils. So I tend to color in circles, and we're going to do something to this after we color. So, but you could just color with pencils, you could use Crayola pencils, and then leave it at that. But I'm just going to show you to kind of how to even out or blend the coloring. So again, I'm just using the straight color. I'm not introducing like color on top of color. But you can, like if I wanted, you put a little darker green in there and then I could blend it together. You could totally do that with these pencils and the blender pen, which I'm going to take out in a second. I'm going to use a darker green for here. And you can see, you know, there's still some white in there, and that's okay, because what I'm going to do is going to take care of that. I'm going to do this one kind of fast. Nice purple. I think this color is gorgeous grape. So I'm making it dark here, kind of pressing harder on my pencils to make it darker, but when I go to do those tulips, I'm going to do it lighter. Again, I like to color in circles. Should have some coloring music on or something. All right, so then this pink, I think it's Melon Mambo, but it's going to mimic my polished pink of this pink. So it's not going to be quite as vibrant, but that's because that's marker and this is pencil too. And I'm going to press down a little bit just to make it dark. Oh, I think on each card I forgot this little part. All right, I'm going to do some magic in just a second. All right, and I don't have, this light color was Pale Papaya, which I don't have, but this is Calypso Coral. So again, I'm just going to do it light. Just a light touch. You can always add more. Okay, so that's pretty just of itself, right? It's just pencil. I was a little sloppy. If I was going to leave it just pencil, I would have done it a little bit neater. But we're going to use, this is called a blender pen. This is probably one of the very first techniques I learned when I learned stamping, like 16, almost 17 years ago, with these blender pens. So I'm really glad they're still around. And I actually, I have to be honest, I kind of forget about them, right? Because they always come out with a new shiny new object kind of thing. But they're right here in the catalog. And so you get 3 pens in one pack for $12. I actually have a new set coming tomorrow because these have to be like at least 8 years old. So they last a really long time. And the other thing I'm going to use, just because I have this out here, are these water painters. So I'll show you that next. Just so you know, these are the 2 blacks. It's all on the same page. All right, so the blender pens have 2 tips, and they're exactly the same. And you're going to see that mine are very stained, and that's what happens, and that's fine and normal. They mean that they're well loved. So it doesn't matter which tip you pick. I always make sure, before I do any project, I just run it on some paper to make sure it's clear. Because what we're going to do is we're just going to go over our watercolored pencils And we're going to smooth out those lines. Maybe fill in those, hopefully you can see, fill in those white spaces. And that's where, like, if I had two colors, this would blend them together, which is why they call blender pens. I don't have to run it clear because I'm just going over a darker green now. I did that on purpose. Hopefully you can see. So now I'm done with the green, so I'm just going to take any excess green off. And now I'm going to go to the light color. I usually start with a lighter color so that I don't have to wash it off as much. Have any of you guys used blender pens before? All right, looks like Charlotte is on your way to college for your last drop off. Oh, Charlotte, I hope you're excited and not sad. All right, I'm going over the pink. Do that little heart. The only thing with these is you don't want to keep going over and over because, oops, your whatever, I don't know what's in here, whatever chemicals in there, it's not water, will make the paper pill a little bit. All right, you're really going to see the difference in the purple. See how that blends it really nice? So you kind of want a light touch because otherwise you'll get like a little, just the paper will just kind of, pill's like the best word I can think of. You can kind of really see what these guys do with this purple. It just smooths everything out. Oh, I just thought of something I could tell you that wasn't part of my theory. If you need a little more color, you can actually take your blender pen on the marker, or the pencil rather, and apply color that way too. I probably shouldn't have done that because now I have a lot of purple on there. But you can totally color from the tips of your pencils. I'll have to remember that if I'll do a little tutorial on the pencil. So that is number 2. So we have our blends markers and our watercolor pencils. All right, so the next way, I'm going to use the blender pen again. Trying to think. Actually, no, I'm going to save that. I'm going to show you. Where is it? I have this one. This one's already pre-colored. So this is watercolored pencil, only watercolored pencils. This is one we just did with the blender pen. So, oh great, Kelly, you are new. Welcome, and hopefully you'll like some of this stuff. I'm trying to keep it simple, trying to keep it limited supplies, although as a new person you probably wouldn't buy all this stuff, but just to give you an idea of different ways of coloring. The pencils are a good bet because they're not that expensive and you get a lot of colors rather than buying like all the ink pads or all the markers. So pencils are a good way to go. So I used the blender pen on this one, and I'm going to use the water painter. They used to call them aqua painters. And they were blue. It's the same thing, except for you get a pack of 3 also. Where is, I can't, one of mine's missing. You get 2 tips. So you get this tip, which is like a paintbrush. You get another one like this, but the tip is a little bit bigger and thicker. And then you get this one, which is great for doing like stripes or big coloring. So I'm going to use this tip, and there's water in it. It goes opposite what you think. So you just twist it off, you put your water in, and then you have to twist it the opposite what you think to get it in there. And there's these actually 2 little, it says push on both sides, so which means you squeeze it together and see the water comes out. Did I bring my paper towel up? Apparently not. That's okay. So this one, again, I already colored in watercolor pencil. And so you do the same thing. You just go over with the water, and it's a little bit more watercolor-ish than the blender pen. You can make it depending on how much water you use, but that's just another way of blending it together. You can do a whole lot more things with these too, but I'm just showing you this one way of doing it. Okay, so then I would go over and wash it, or you can squeeze it into a paper towel till it runs clear. All right, so I already have one done like that. So let's see. Oops, good thing I labeled them. All right, so that's the watercolor, the water painter. So let's move that aside. So blender pen, water painter. So you can see it's a little bit more saturated. The water gets a little bit more saturated, but pretty similar. That one goes with that one, and I'll put them all out. I'm gonna forget which one is which. So that was kind of my halfway when I said 3.5 ways, because the coloring's the same. It's just if you use the water painter or the aqua painter or water painter or blender pen. All right, so the last way uses the ink pads in the blender pen, or actually you can use the water painter too. So again, we're using water, right? The water painter or the blender pen. So we're going to use the StazOn black. I was just looking for my stamp. So I was saying these ones I like to stamp upside down. If I were to, oh shoot. Let me see, because I have extra here. I can fix that with a marker later. Let's see if I can get a better one. If I were to use the water painter with the Memento black would run. It would bleed, and it doesn't look good. So that's why there's specific. I'm getting ink everywhere. There we go. Do hello again. Okay. So now, this is cool. We're going to use our ink pads as a paint palette. Let me close this, since I'm getting ink everywhere and I didn't bring a cleaner up. So what I like to do is turn them upside down and squeeze them. Do you see with my fingers and my thumb? Really give it a good squeeze. You kind of want to, what you're doing is squeezing this ink pad on this tray. I think a lot of them, I already did this. So they should all have ink in the trays. Yeah. Oh, that one needs a little bit more. I have 2 different purples just to make one that darker one. All right, so you can actually use 3 different ways of doing this. Where's my third way? 1, 2, oh. So for this, what I'm going to do, you can use either the blender pen. I'll use all 3. You can use the aqua painter, water painter. They changed the name and I keep calling it the wrong thing. Or the Wink of Stella glitter pen, which is, I was talking about that. So I'm going to send free for the $100 orders with my special. So I'm going to pick up some ink just as if I was painting. So you can kind of paint that way. It's a little bit darker, so you just kind of watch your touch a little bit, how much ink you get. This was, again, because when I first started, we used the blender pens a lot more than I think what's being used now. So this was a technique we did a lot when I learned. All right, and again, you just run it till it's clear. So same thing, I could just pick up with my water painter. And this might be a little bit more watercolor-ish because it's turn my paper so I can see. And if you thought like, well, that's really saturated, you can squeeze a little water in there so it's a little bit more not as dark. And that's sometimes what I do, is I get that kind of watery, and when I use this thicker brush, I put in there, and then you can kind of do a nice watercolor wash background. And if it gets too wet, you just take a paper towel and wipe it up and it disappears. All right, so that's one way of doing it. And where's my other one? The Wink of Stella pen is almost like, let me show you first. So I'm going to just go over this one. So this was the first one we did with the blends markers. The Wink of Stella, if I just leave it alone, I'm just going to go on top. And can you see the spark? Oh, look at, I'm crooked on my, sorry guys, I'm crooked. Can you see the shine on there? So that's kind of what the Wink of Stella does. It just adds a little bit of shine without using glue. Remember, we used to always use glue and that sparkle. But it also works like a blender pen. So I could pick up this purple with my, and use it that way too. And then it puts the glitter in it. Now I generally would probably use more my blender pen to do this, because I think it spreads a little bit better, but see how there's all on there, and then again you just run it till it's clear, so it's clear. I think, where did it go? All right, so that is, let's check my time, okay, how I did the coloring. All right, I will finish this up later because you don't need to watch me do all this. But those are the 3 ways of coloring. So let me just close these. I'll get all, oh, okay, I just put my thumb in the pink. And I don't have anything up here but paper. All right, so if you're curious what the colors I used Pale Papaya, Polished Pink, Parakeet Party, Fresh Freesia, Highland Heather. Similar colors for the blender pens and as close as possible with the watercolor pencils. All right, so let's get all of these out here. Oh, and this was the other one, that other stamp image that was in the stamp set. Works the same way. All right, so, all right, let's see if I can straighten us out. Let's see. That needs to go up. Let's see if that helps. So blender pen, that one's a little bit darker. No, not blender pen. Ah, let's do it this way. Blends markers. No. Oh, shoot. I put them together wrong. Oh, and I could tell, look, the difference. All right. Blends markers. Blender pen. Oh, the ink pad. I'm just trying to put them in the order I did them. Watercolor. Yeah, here we go. Watercolor pencils and blender pen with water painter. Oh, I made it even more crooked. Ah, sorry guys. My tripod is movable, and so when I move it, it doesn't. That's a little bit better. Try to get these all on the frame. Oh, you know what? That's the first one I did, and I mixed the green and the purple together, and so let's do the better one. This is a better one. Yeah, okay. All right, so there we go. Those are the 4 ways. Can you see them all of how I did the coloring? Plus wherever the envelope went. Oh yeah, here's the envelope. And here's the other. Okay. Mary Lou, hello. All right, so let's see. Kelly said, I didn't know you could paint with the stamps. Yes. There's tons you can do. And so that's why, like, sometimes because of so many things you can do, you kind of forget all the options or the first things you learn. Like I said, this is one of the first things that I learned how to do, just is that type of coloring. So it's a simple card on purpose. So what you could do, I brought up ribbon here too. Oops. You could make a whole stack of cards. You saw it didn't take that long to color, right? So here's 6 cards. And if I had the envelopes, you could even simply put some ribbon, tie a little bow, And what a nice little gift, right? If I could tie a bow. I don't want to cut my spool because I'm not going to leave the ribbon on here, but I just want to show you. So here's a nice little, you know, hostess gift or a Mother's Day gift or just a birthday or a thank you, but very simple, but really sweet. All right, so that's what I had for you today. I wanted to show you kind of those ways of coloring. Simple card. This is the stamp set. Oh, that's what fell. Okay, so I can't get it. The stamp sets just fell on the floor. Yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will, I'll take pictures with the sticky notes, and so you can kind of compare to with a better lighting in a photograph. And I will put the paper on the inside of the blends one because, let's see, remember the blends markers does bleed. So if you're going to do them on just the note card, you need to cover it up, or you could stamp on a piece of paper and then put that on top of the note card. Either way. Alrighty, you are very welcome. Kelly, thanks for joining us. I hope you come back. I do these every Wednesday, pretty much every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern time, depending on where you live, but it's always the same time. And yeah, and so believe it or not, next month is going to be September, which is crazy, because we're going to be getting really kind of into the holiday season of Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's going to be boom, 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 boom. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of those themed projects. All right, so have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for spending the time with me live and also on the replay if you're watching this at a different time. I appreciate it. I am Christine Josty. Today, remember, is the last day of celebration, the last day of my August special. So if that is anything you're interested in, the clock is ticking. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Oh, that's okay to be late, Mary Lou. You're welcome. You can catch the replay, or I can even show you at club. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Thanks. Bye-bye.